welcome back, everybody. It's time once again for Closing the Wealth Gap. The one show, maybe the only show, that shows you how to close the wealth gap in your own life with the man who's done it for many, our wealth coach himself, Tyrone French. Hey, Tyrone.
Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of Closing the Wealth Gap. I'm your host, Tyrone French, and we got my trusty producer, my friend, Mr. Paul Roberts.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, ready and eager.
Hey, we got a really good show lined up for today. But first and foremost, I want to let my viewers know to when you download this episode,
right?
Do us a favor and click on the follow link that's right there on that image, on that icon. Just follow us, show us that you're supporting us. We get the emails, we get the feedback, but it'd be really nice for you just to go ahead and click that follow link. Also, we contribute to Closing the Wealth Gap, contributes to the Children's Hospital in LA and the Children's Hospital in Long Beach. And we do that because they're just great causes. My daughter had a situation when she was 11 years old, went through the Children's Hospital in LA. I'm not going to get into that story, but they were phenomenal. I mean, they bent over backwards to help us. The surgery went great, no complications. So my niece, we call her nickname is Nickel, because she ended up swallowing a nickel when she was about maybe 7 years old.
Oh, my goodness.
And it didn't go all the way down. It stayed in her throat.
Yikes.
By her windpipe.
Yikes.
And so the Children's Hospital in Long Beach basically called in a surgeon.
Saved the day.
He came in like Superman and just saved the day. So those causes, the Children's Hospital in LA, Children's Hospital in Long Beach, are near and dear to my heart. We contribute to them every single month. So if you want to contribute to Closing the Wealth Gap, there's a button on there that you can become a patron. It's like $4, $5, whatever you want to contribute to keep this relevant information on the air. But I'm telling you, proceeds go to the Children's Hospital of Long Beach and LA.
Good deal. We're starting a show this month with the City of Hope Hospital here, another great organization. All these groups that serve children and cancer and specialties. Wow. And UCI is a great hospital here as well.
It's something that, again, it's out of sight, out of mind, until you walk into those doors and you see those angels, those faces, those kids. And a lot of times they don't really understand the gravity of their situation. They just want to play.
Yep.
They just want to play. So whatever we can do, whatever I can do to contribute. The first time I walked into the Children's Hospital and I saw those wings and those children, I broke down.
Yeah.
I served in the United States Army and the Navy. I grew up in South Central LA. I thought I was a tough guy until I saw. I didn't know what tough was until I saw these little kids.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
Every single day grinding it out, man. It touched me.
Isn't that the truth? All right, well, touch me with some stuff here today. We got to get perked up. I told you, I lied at the beginning. I'm feeling a little funky, a little blue, because it's overcast. And when it's overcast for a couple of days in Southern California, we all get...
it's almost like we want the sun and we want the heat, but it gets too hot, and it's like, oh, it's too hot. Then all of a sudden, we get the rain. We need the rain, but it's overcast.
Overcast.
But I woke up this morning, to see the gloom and doom and appreciate the rain. So I just, for me, the day doesn't affect my attitude.
Doesn't it? Oh boy,
the day is neutral.
Everybody, when it rains in Southern California, people don't come into work. People are crabby. People stay home. Yeah, they say, I'll wait till tomorrow when the sun comes. We're so spoiled. A couple of rainy days, a couple of overcast days, and we're down.
California, man. We're spoiled.
We're down. So bring us up today here.
I'll tell you what, though, this is what I want to do too, though.
Yeah.
I want to, put it out there as far as the website. A lot of times I'm getting feedback that, what's the website? How do I contact you?
What is the website?
We don't put that out enough. So we want you to go to closingthewealthgap.net. Check us out online. All of our past episodes are there. And let's say if you want individual coaching, you want a free financial plan, you want information that's relative to your situation where you're up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, go to TyroneFrench.coach.
Too many of us are up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning worrying these days. Inflation has got us scared. You've talked about that a number of times. Unstable politics, the future of the dollar, on and on and on. Lots of scary things out there right now. And we're just like little kids. Don't want to hear about it. Don't want to hear about it.
And, a lot of people are talking about inflation right now. And we talked about this a long time ago. But one of the things that I really need to put emphasis on is identity theft protection.
That's what I was leading, because you're going to talk another one about, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to think about it until it happens.
Until it happens.
Wow.
And here's the thing, Paul. You have a lot of advisors out there. They can tell you or give you a lot of ideas and a lot of concepts about how to make money, but they never tell you how to keep it.
Wow. Is that true?
They'll tell you, this is what you need to do, and here's our perspectives, and this is our company, and this is our assets under management, and how long we've been doing this, and how many clients we have, but they never tell you how to keep it on the back end. And wealth and money, it's not about making the money. It's about keeping it. Because once you have it, everybody's trying to take it from you.
Real quick story. We all love celebrities, and I'm older, so I like older celebrities. And I saw just a little snippet of story flew past on the internet the other day. No big deal. Kevin Bacon apparently is, I don't know if he's bankrupt, but he lost most of his money, he said, to that crook Bernie Madoff. He and so many others believed him, and he said he basically wiped out all of that money made in the movies and everything else here. He did not hold on to the money.
It's not about how much you earn. It's about how much you keep.
Yeah.
Not only how much you're keeping, but how you're earning that income. Is also, because if it's you trading time for money, and again, look at I don't care if it's an entertainer, or an actor, or an athlete.
We've seen stories of athletes that you say, oh my goodness, great career. Why is the guy out of money here?
Large salaries, but money doesn't make you rich. Money is a tool.
I was just going to say we had some. Sorry, you got me thinking here. We had a guest on. I'd forgotten about it, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And he worked with athletes, training athletes. And his specialty was he'd been a big college football star, didn't make it into the pros. So now he's training other kids, high school, that transition when you go from high school to college. And he said it was critical. He told me some startling statistic. I wish I could remember it. How many NFL players go bankrupt after a couple of years? They didn't have the money. They lived in small town, rural area, in a city, wherever it was they came from, had no money, just loved playing football, loved playing baseball, whatever. Got there. The party's on all the time. Everybody's got their hand out. Everybody wants a piece of the action. They're investing foolishly. They're not investing at all. And suddenly the career comes to an end, and they got nothing.
And that's why on this show, a lot of times we're not really talking about products and services.
No,
what we're talking about
true.
is mindset.
Yeah.
Because you can have a poverty mentality and not know it. It's natural to you. It's natural because money is going to be, money flows just like blood in your body. It circulates through your body, through your organs.
Right.
And if it wasn't doing that, you would know it.
Yeah, you would know it.
You would know it.
Well, you've talked numerous times. You've had numerous guests on through the years because of your background in the military. First of all, you were in the Army and the Navy. Someday you got to explain to me why you did both. Most people do one. You did both, but that's crazy. But anyway, so you really gave. Thank you for your double service here.
Appreciate it.
But having said that, you shocked me how many service people should come out of the service flush with cash. They didn't have to pay for housing. They didn't have to pay for meals or health care, all the other things that drains our income. They've got all that supplied to them here. They get sign-up bonuses. They get other sorts of things. They should be coming out flush with cash. And in fact, you tell me a large percentage should come out broke.
Because it's not a priority.
Right.
It's not a priority, and it's not something that's taught. And again, it's the same thing. I don't care what level you are. I don't care if you're an executive. I don't
Yeah.
care if you're an athlete. I don't care if you're an entertainer. If you don't have that mentality, meaning if you don't have, you're not transmitting and receiving on that frequency.
Yes, right. You're not dialed in, right?
You're not dialed in, and it's not a priority. And a lot of people have programmed themselves to think that things are not going to change. It's good, and it's going to stay this way. And reality sets in and says, "Oh, no, no, no! You know, you lost this income stream. You can lose your income overnight, but your expenses will just keep on going.
Yes.
It'll just keep on
I
going."
think of my late father and his generation, the World War II generation, the so-called greatest generation. One thing they were great at was saving money and thinking ahead. Too much so sometimes. They would scrimp and save when they didn't have to. They would always
Right.
put off things until tomorrow. He would pay off every credit card as soon as it came in. Many of the things are plottable. And it all became of that frightening experience they went through called the Great Depression, when
Exactly.
everything, when there's no food, there's no heat, there's no nothing, there's no jobs. And
Exactly.
that forever scarred them. And so they were always living for the future, always thinking of legacy, always thinking of what's going to happen tomorrow. Along comes my generation, the baby boomers. It's live for today, baby. If it feels good, do it. Tomorrow will take care of itself.
And then tomorrow you got to pay the piper.
Yeah, and the
You
Pipers.
got to pay the piper. And here's the thing: when
Piper's
you're
been
young
knocking at the
and
door,
you have
yeah.
the energy. Yeah, you're young. You have the energy, and you can make these mistakes, and you can possibly recover. As you get older, just like with your body, and just like with athletes,
Yes.
your recovery time takes longer.
That's a good analogy.
It takes longer. So with your finances, again, you can probably make some mistakes in your 20s and 30s and possibly your 40s. But when you start talking about your 50s and 60s and definitely your 70s, it takes a long time to recover. And I'll give you a quick example, and then
Right.
we're going to get into our topic as far as
Okay.
identity theft, because we don't have a whole lot of time today, Paul.
Right.
But imagine you start out an investment with $500.
Okay.
I'm just throwing a number out there. And all of a sudden, you lose 50% of your value. And after a year, you've been doing it for 12 months, you lose 50% of your value. Starting the next year, you have $250.
Right.
Now imagine that the economy adjusted itself, and all of a sudden, you got a 50% gain on your investments. Okay, I'll tell you what. To make it even simple, let's say 1,000. You
we'll do.
saved. You
Okay.
saved. You got to put $1,000 away.
Right.
You lost half of your investment. Now you got $500. Now that's typical. You got $500.
Right.
The next year it goes up by 50%.
Because you're lucky. If something happens. Right.
Everything lined up and it went up another 50%. So one year you lost 50%. The next year you gained 50%. So at the end of that next year, how much you think is in your account?
You know, the first answer is you think, I lost 50%, I gained 50%. I should be back to zero. But you gained 50% on a lower amount
You
of money.
gain 50% on a lower value, on a lower volume, which is only $750. So again, it will take time. Again, you can lose it overnight, but it will take time to regain it.
So
And that's the illusion or not even illusion, but delusion,
yeah.
that a lot of people have, thinking that, it was down, but now it's going to come back up, but your expenses continue. I like what Robert Kiyosaki says, how you can determine an asset and liability. Mm-hmm. And an asset will put money in your pocket during good times and bad times. But a liability will take money out of your pocket during good times and bad times. So when you experience that bad time, the asset is still putting money in your pocket. When you experience that bad time, that liability is eating you. It's eating your resources.
And just because you lost some value in your house, lost your job, lost your savings in the stock market, lost, you can't go to the landlord, you can't go to the grocery store and say, hey, I lost. And they go, no problem, I got this. Well, how much you lose? 50%? Let's cut your expenses by 50%. Let's cut your gas bill by 50%.
Yeah, that's what that's like. What, Walt Disney World? What is that? Yeah, Disneyland or something like
Fantasyland.
that. Yeah. That's why the homeless problem is so bad right now.
Yeah, really
And
is.
again, we were talking about this months ago when we didn't know. We knew they were going to call it something, but we didn't know the name that they were going to, the term that they were going to use. But you have these homeless encampments now,
Yeah,
and pretty soon, they're going to. I mean, they're already looking at the locations as far as putting. These
you
homeless
scare
people
me
in
all the time.
desert.
You're the only ones ever talking about this, because we're all talking about where do we put the homeless, and we're going to help the homeless, and you're saying, yeah, we're going to help ourselves to some free labor and some other things here. We're gonna turn these into labor camps. That's your fear.
And here's the thing: the dominant society. If you think about people that have, they have a certain amount of means, and they like the status quo. They like their property values rising. They'll brag about the property taxes that they pay based on because they know that they're funding their schools,
Right.
the utilities, keep the lights on, street lights, the parks, the whole 9 yards. The idea of taking a lot of homeless people and getting them off of the street, putting them in a place where you can't see them, and then making them earn their keep, meaning that now they're in this location. You have these buses where they get on the bus and they go out to these cities or these municipalities and they begin to work because they'll be on a credit system. They don't, or a digital system, meaning that they don't have income, but they're racking up all these expenses. And a lot of people, again, they're not going to want the state to cover these expenses. So you don't have the money. So guess what? Now you're going to have these debits. Okay, you're going to have a debit balance. And in order to get out of that encampment, in order to get into housing, in order to get into a better situation, your debits are going to have to be cleared
Yeah.
to get out of that system.
Debtor's prison, go back to the 1800s, 1700s, 1500s. It was easy. We'll give you a little more. We'll give you a little more. And pretty soon I can't ever pay it back. Great. Then we're going to throw you in jail, or we're going to put you in basically, I forget what they call it. Slavery.
Corporations used to function like that as well. You had
Form of slavery.
You had the company store.
Company store. Oh, my soul to the company store.
You had the company dispensary where you went.
Yeah.
And again, when you got your paycheck, you owed the company X amount of dollars. So your paycheck went to pay off your debit balance. And guess what? That you went right back to work.
It's like these poor immigrants that come over mostly from Asia, but sometimes Eastern Europe, and they're promised, we will give you a job, and they take your passport when you arrive, and you are basically a slave. You don't speak the language, you don't understand the system, you don't have a passport to leave, and you're told that it was very expensive to bring you over and to house you and feed you. So when you pay that back, we'll let you go. But until then, we own you. You're going to work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, 20 hours a day, doing whatever we want you to do.
They're already doing it in the prisons, especially here in California, especially during the fire season.
Yeah, right.
They're short on manpower. So guess where they make up that shortage? Prisoners.
And on one level, I say that's good. I mean, they're contributing something back. I understand the feel for that. But if that's all we're doing is imprisoning people for free labor, if that's all we are is putting people on welfare for free labor, if we are running up debts and throwing people in jail or saying, here's how you can work off your debt, we are turning the nation into I hate to say it, maybe it's not formal slavery, but it's certainly a form of enslavement. You have no choice the rest of your life. And that debt seems to always mount and get bigger and bigger and bigger. You can never seem to wipe the slate clean.
The United States has the largest prison population.
We do. Shocking.
In the world.
In the world, yeah. And you wouldn't think so because, there's other countries that lock you up for saying the wrong thing, political prisoners. But here, yeah, we just seem to have and there's an industry that thrives off of it, makes money off of it here. There's I don't know. I don't understand all this stuff.
The incentive for the system to be corrupt is baked into the system.
Yeah.
And then it goes back to, why did we even fight a civil war? A lot of people say it was over states' rights, but it was states' rights to do what? To maintain their slaves.
Yeah, to enslave people. And wow, I don't understand what's going on. So we ate a bunch of your time here. Do you want to talk about identity threat? You got another one? Because you know what I'm doing? I'm trying to delay the subject because I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear that how susceptible I am to have an identity theft, and all they're going to go into my bank account and they're going to do bad things, and I just assume it's never going to happen to me. I have the minnow mentality. I'm just one little minnow swimming in a big sea. They're never going to catch me. I know.
Well, Paul, I like the way you contribute to the show because you're like the everyday guy.
I am.
That's asking the questions. And again, I may have a topic that I want to talk about, and we come in and we're going through our dialogue and stuff, and you come up with these great points. And it's almost like we're conversational because sometimes people think that we have a script.
Oh, no.
That this show is scripted.
No.
I got to tell them, no, it's not.
No.
It's just two guys having a conversation that's almost like providing a public service that's answering questions that a lot of people have on their mind, but they don't have they're not tapped into the network or resource to get this information.
Because who do you have to talk about this with? Am I going to talk about it with my wife? She doesn't want to hear it. Am I going to talk about my kids? They sure don't want to hear it. Am I going to talk about my friends? They talk about how good things are. They don't want to hear how bad things are. Once in a while,
your counselor, your analyst, even your pastor, you're not going to have these conversations.
No.
So again, there's no dialogue,
right.
And now you're not thinking about this stuff. So the reason I want to bring up identity theft and your privacy is your business today. In the environment that we live in, this digital age, now identity thieves can use AI and robots to steal your identity. And if you think about it, your phone, your computer, your notebook computer, your iPad, your all of these things, all of these devices, you have your identity on, you have your information on. And case in point, let's say somebody decides to take out a life insurance policy, a large life insurance policy. They want to cover their estate.
Right.
Then we're talking about a multi-million-dollar policy. Well, the insurance company is going to do, there's various checks that they're going to make. Department of Motor Vehicles, your DMV, right. Background check. They want to check your driver's record. But another thing that they check is called your MIB, Medical Information Bureau. They're going to check your medical status. They want to know, have you been hospitalized? If you're being treated, what are you being treated for? What type of medication are you taking?
But I thought that was all private stuff now under the HIPAA, Health Information Protection Act and all this stuff.
When you sign your application, that what you're doing is you're authorizing the insurance company to get this information. You're authorizing the insurance company to access this information.
I'll give you another interesting one.
But no, let me finish this though, Paul.
All right.
Because let's say you decide to go in and like I said, you're getting this, you're just getting this insurance and you're going through these different agencies and it comes back and your application is rejected, denied. They're going to give you a reason as to why it was denied. Even your credit report, they're going to pull your credit report, your credit history. And a lot of times, again, they don't know why it was denied. And so if they say, well, says here that you have HIV. And it's like, well, no, I don't have HIV. Well, but that's what's in your system. That's what's in your report.
Right.
And the issue is, well, how did that get there? And how do I clean it up? Who can answer that question? Because the insurance company's not going to do it. They're just going to tell you, this is what's being reported. And now it's like you don't have the insurance. And they'll say, well, when you clean this up, you come back and you talk to us. What is your first step to cleaning up your medical records? The average consumer doesn't know.
I don't know.
Even let's say somebody gets arrested and they use your information and they were supposed to show up to court and they never showed up. And now all of a sudden they use your name, your information, you get pulled over for a minor traffic stop and you end up going to jail because there's a warrant out for your arrest.
And you say, that's not me.
And you're trying to litigate it on the side of the road while you're in handcuffs.
Right.
And so now you're locked up. You get to make a phone call, but who are you going to call? You're not going to call your attorney because you probably don't have one. So who are you going to call? A relative to come and try to bail you out?
I'm calling my coach. Calling Tyrone French.
But again, Paul.
No, I'm laughing, but no, there's no place to go. And
there's no place to go. So the wrong time to try to solve this problem is when you're in it.
yeah,
You should have had these bases covered before you found yourself in that situation. And that's how people are finding themselves today with identity theft.
I'll
Because
tell you one
people think identity theft, Paul, is just about their banking information.
right.
But no, you imagine now you're trying to rent an apartment. Okay, you let's say, because a lot of people are moving around the country now, and you're in California, and let's say you want to move to Texas, and now you want to rent this apartment, but they won't rent it to you because on your application they did a check, and you were evicted a couple of times.
Yeah,
But you weren't evicted.
Right.
It's just somebody used your information. They rented an apartment and they didn't pay the rent, and now you have this eviction on your report.
and the credit card companies have gotten better at it, pretty good at it, I think, because they get hit so often. And I have had, and I know others have had, a text, a phone call from my credit card company saying, an email, is this you? Are you in Texas right now buying this stuff here? Because this looks suspicious. We didn't see you buy any tickets. We didn't see you rent a car or anything here. All of a sudden, somebody's using your name and your credit card in Brazil or
Right.
in Michigan.
Exactly.
And you go, no, that's not me. Thank you for catching that. So they have these little red flags. But you don't have anything that catches you for all that other stuff you're talking about. Somebody's using my credit. How would I even know? How would I know that somebody rented a house in my name or took out a loan in my name or was convicted in my name? I wouldn't know until I got hit with this. I don't know how you protect
Exactly.
yourself.
And also, think about the time
Oh.
and the resources that it takes to clean this stuff up. First of all, you don't know what to do. Now you're going through the process and you're making mistakes while you're going through this process. You're probably putting out even more information that you shouldn't be putting out, to the wrong agencies. I mean, how many times have you called to get a problem solved and you were talking to the wrong person and you were giving them all this information, say, oh no, I'm not the person to talk to. You need to talk to this person. Let me put you on hold. Then all of a sudden you get disconnected.
Hours go round and round and round.
So again, you're taking off time from work. It's hurting productivity. It's based on your employer. You're losing wages. And guess what, Paul? This problem that we're talking about, identity theft, not only is it solvable, but we're talking about less than $1 a day.
Well, that's what I was hoping. You're going to give me some solution, because all you're doing is scaring me. I just want to turn this whole podcast off and crawl back under the cloudy. It's a cloudy day, and you're making it even cloudier here. So I hope you're going to give me some hope, some ray of sunshine.
There are various identity theft programs out there. I'm not going to mention any names, but there's some popular. They run their television commercials.
Yeah,
and they'll say what they're going to do, and they'll put a price out there. But again, what you're talking about is anywhere between $15 and $20 a month to make sure that if your identity is compromised, that you have an entity that you can go to, that you can call and say, hey, look, my identity has been stolen. But I tell you what, full disclosure, there's a company that I use. It's called ID Shield.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
I've been with this company for 14 years. I don't have any issues because they're constantly monitoring. Just like me, I'll monitor my accounts. If something pop up, I'm Johnny on the spot to take care of it. It's the same thing with the company that I use as far as monitoring activity on my complete identity. And so I don't have any issues.
The other one I hear about is LifeLock. LifeLock's another one.
Whatever. But I use a company called ID Shield. And again, I've been with them over 15 years. So I don't have these issues. And when I'm trying to explain to people, explain to our audience, and and people that really interested in making sure, because we call it risk management, just making sure that all of their I's are dotted and their T's are crossed. Start taking a look at some of the things that you can do just based on the information that we're putting out, so that you can say, oh, you know what, maybe I need help in this area. Maybe I need to take a look at this, because this is something that I've been neglecting. And yes, I can spend decades getting myself together financially. And all that hard work can be thrown out of the window
Blink of an eye.
in a blink of an eye.
I use a very lesser known, very cheap organization called Duck and Cover. I just duck and cover. That's what I do. That's my whole thing. And it doesn't cost me a nickel. So it's very cheap. And as long as I stay out of the way and nobody comes after me, I'm good. But you really, there's truth in everything you're saying. Too many of these things we think we can do without until we need them. Like any kinds of insurance. I don't want to have car insurance even. But by God, am I glad I have it when somebody hits me, or I hit
But it
somebody.
goes back to economics and inflation. See, because of inflation, like here's the thing. I love inflation.
What? No. Who loves
I want
inflation?
you to think about something. We only got a few more minutes, but I
Yeah.
want my audience to think about this. And not just me, because it's baked into the system. Inflation causes prices to rise.
Yeah.
Causes prices to soar. When we're talking about hyperinflation, the money is being devalued. So you need more dollars in order to buy the same thing. So it makes the prices go up.
What your last guest was talking about with the guy,
So
the
what is
silver
that
guy.
doing to the housing market? The
Going
prices of homes.
Going up.
Drives them up. So what is it doing to your assets that's in your portfolio? It's driving them up. It's making them more valuable. So when you go to sell those assets now, you're going to get more money for them. And so the inflation rate, people thought that, it will, every 10 years, I have to really focus on and consider inflation. But now what the numbers are telling us is that, no, you have to make sure that your income is increasing by 50% every 5 years.
What? Oh, man. Most
Just
of
to
us
keep
haven't
pace
seen
with-
it in 50 years. Our
Just to
income
keep
go up.
pace with inflation. And so now, again, the feds, they keep on trying to raise the interest rates just to combat spending, to bring the spending down so that the prices can start coming down. And then once that happens, once those prices start coming down, but the interest rate is so high that the average person is not going to borrow, but the prices are coming down. So who does that make an opportunity for? The wealthy, the rich and the wealthy that have the resources to capitalize it. So what I'm telling you, it's a cycle, Paul. It's a cycle. But
Rich
when
people
your
wait for things
assets-
to go down so they can scoop in and scoop them up.
Well, it's just like buying, a bargain basement sale.
Yeah.
Everything is on clearance.
Right.
But again, what it does when your assets begins to rise, you have this appearance or this illusion of wealth on your balance sheet, but it also makes you more attractive to identity thieves. Because
Back
a
to
lot of
that.
times, again, people want to brag. They want to brag about what they have and what they got and how much they have and all this other stuff. And that's another reason why home invasion robberies on the rise right now.
That's true, too. Well, I got to stop bragging. I know that I know the coach. I know Tyrone French. I'm telling everybody, I know the coach. I got a financial coach. I got a wealth coach here.
And we're here to help. So what I want my audience to do, and Paul, same thing with you, buddy. Go to my website. Go to TyroneFrench.coach. Get this information. Start pulling it out. Because again, even with this, when we first started, from then and now, the conversation and the dialogue is a little bit more intense because you've been doing your homework.
Yeah.
You've
Oh,
been
yeah.
doing your research.
Amen. You got me thinking. When our show's over, I go back and now it's funny, I say to my friends sometimes or my neighbors something like, "What do you got any life insurance? You got any sort of identity theft protection?" We're starting a conversation where I find myself bringing up topics I would have never talked about. And then most of the time, people are kind of more interested than I thought they'd be.
Yes.
No, tell me about that. I don't. I've thought about that. Do you know anybody about that? We're talking about issues that we
And
didn't
if they don't know where to go, send them to TyroneFrench.coach.
always do.
And again, just like a movie, you go to a movie and you like that movie and you go back and you tell your friends and family and relatives and people within your network, hey, go check out that movie. Well, you're part of our network now. So send people to closingthewealthgap.net. Send them to TyroneFrench.coach so they can get the same information and get the same value that you're getting. Because again, it's really not about us, Paul. we're passing.
We're the messengers.
We're observers that are passing
Yeah,
through.
right.
It's
We're the
about our
messengers.
generation. It's about our kids and our grandkids.
Yeah.
So whatever we can secure for them in our generation, in our lifetime, it's going to compound over a period of time where it's going to be more valuable.
And our community, because if our communities fall apart, I asked this. We have we're at UCI. We have a number of wealthy show hosts and wealthy guests come in, very powerful people. And I sometimes think they have the perception, I don't care what happens to the rest of the world. I got mine. And I say, you will care when society breaks down, when they're breaking through your door, when they're coming with pitchforks for what you've got, when the sewers won't work anymore. I don't care how much money you got. When the water doesn't flow, when bad things happen, I don't care how much you got. You have to think not only of yourself but of your community, because we don't live on an island. So you say I don't care about them. What happens to them? Well, if the moral reason, if the Christian in you doesn't, or whatever the religion in you doesn't have any feeling for others, think about it as a self-interest. If the society sinks, everybody sinks. Everybody rises.
See, this is a national security issue.
That's what you say all the time, and I think
yes, and it's already happening. You can turn on. I mean, a lot. And again, people are the dominant society are really upset when they see these episodes where people are going into CVS or these drugstores, these grocery stores, and they're just piling this stuff in the carts and and they're just walking out of the store, and it's like, well, wow, you didn't pay for that. You're stealing. Well, guess what? They even had to change the laws to whereas if it's under $1,000, it's a misdemeanor.
Yeah. No.
Why? Because they don't want all these people in jail right now.
Mm-mm. No, it's scary. If society, we think, well, that's a long way off. But I've seen already things that in the last few years in politics, I won't go into them, but in politics, in economics, in the way we look at each other, the whole COVID thing, and and whether we believe stuff or don't believe stuff, whether we care about whether helping other people or not. All of these keep exposing the fact that there's more and more people saying I'm just in it for me. And if everybody takes that mentality, we're going to be in trouble. We're not going to invest in infrastructure. We're not going to fix the problems in the system. Sooner or later, all these things can come back to roost. We might.
Well, I tell you what.
Later.
I'm gonna say this, and then we're gonna wind down the show. There's a lot of billionaires and a lot of multimillionaires that are really starting to get it. And they're not leaving the money to their kids. Mm-hmm. They're going to leave enough for them to be well off, but they're leaving that money back to society now.
Exactly, reinvest
They're giving it back. And so this time that we're going through right now is one of the largest transfers of wealth in the history of this nation.
That's true. You see Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and these guys, or whatever they call that, the Give Back Pledge. Jobs' wife, who after the divorce got, I don't know, $50 billion, $20 billion, $30 billion or something, and she's determined she's going to give like 80% of it away in her lifetime here. That's a lot of money.
Because you get to a certain point where it's just money. People realize it's just a tool.
Yeah.
It's. You hear a lot of people say that, well, money is not everything, and money can't buy happiness, but it's the people that have it.
Yeah,
that'll say those things.
They've
because
come
they
back,
get to the point where they realize fulfillment comes from within.
Right.
It doesn't come from without.
Right.
So if you can literally take your resources and help somebody provide a service, that's where your fulfillment comes from. That's where your happiness comes from. And that's what a lot of millionaires and billionaires are really starting to understand, that, because greed kills. Greed is not good.
I see it in people like you, and my hat's off to you here, because you don't have to do this show. It's a lot of time, effort, expense to do all these things and produce it. There's a team behind you that pushes this stuff out and edits it and everything. There's an effort that goes. You don't just show up to do this.
Right.
You don't have to do this. And maybe I'm sure there's some side benefit. People know you and maybe you sell more stuff. But I don't get that that's your main motivation for doing this. It's really a kind of a give-back program.
I'll give you a secret to the inside track of Tyrone French.
Okay.
I love what I do, and I do what I love. I repeat that to myself over and over and over again. And if I love what I do and I do what I love, and so I find myself doing what I love and loving what I do because I'm focused on that.
Yeah. Well, you set a good example and you give us good information. And damn it, you get me thinking. And I don't want to think. I want to just live in the ignorance is bliss. I don't want to think about these things. I got too many other scary things. I just want, we're all like little kids or ostriches. We want to stick our head in the sand. It's not going to happen to me. I don't have to, or I can't do that. Why am I even trying? All this negativity. You're always saying, just tune into a different frequency.
Tune into a different frequency. Keep coming back to Closing the Wealth Gap. Tune in to closingthewealthgap.net. Check out TyroneFrench.coach. You can email me at Tyrone@TyroneFrench.com. It's Tyrone French. Tyrone@TyroneFrench.com. And you will tap into this resource.
Yeah.
Keep coming back.
A network. All right. Thank you for networking with us here today. All right. That's going to wrap it up for today, right here on The Wealth Gap. That's our show for this week. Closing the Wealth Gap. The one show, the only show that shows you how to take control of your financial future. Right here in Orange County's only community radio station, OCTalkRadio.net.